I am Brittany Holden. I am the mother of my little boy who will be 2.
Hi, I'm Sydney Underwood, and I'm the mother of a 6-month-old today. With Brittany and I, we're not romantic or anything like that. We've known each other for 14 years, something like that. 15, okay, whatever. See, we've known each other for so long, so watching each other become moms is really interesting, but being backup moms for each other is even cooler.
I usually spend most of my time either taking care of my son Brian or cleaning or doing chores and doing my homework for school.
He's pretty neat, pretty chunky, really cute, and I love him to pieces.
I'm currently enrolled at SFCC, hoping to get my AA transfer and hopefully be able to go to EWU to get my major in microbiology.
Right now I don't have a whole lot going on for me, but I hope to start school here in the fall and either get into nursing or veterinary.
So I had 2 miscarriages and I had 1 abortion.
Kian happened, it sounds horrible, but accidentally. He was conceived on 3 different birth controls.
And that was probably about a year, maybe 2 before I had Brian. So when I got pregnant again, I couldn't go through with another abortion because of how difficult it was for me.
Me and his dad were dating for almost 2 years at that point, and I was told I couldn't conceive, or even if I did conceive, I wouldn't be able to carry a full term because I'm RH negative and I have a small womb.
And me and his dad were together and everything seemed to go fairly well, I guess, at that point in time.
So when I found out I was pregnant with him, I was terrified because I've already had a couple miscarriages.
I decided to keep him, and I was working and while I was pregnant trying to get things done. And then me and his dad broke up.
Had to think, is my mental state gonna be able to handle another miscarriage?
But I still decided to keep the baby and then moved back to be with my mom and have some emotional support and everything for when.
Or am I gonna be able to handle it if I had another abortion? Because I had one before and it destroyed me.
So I suffer from depression and bipolar disorder already, so my postpartum hit me pretty hard.
My partner and I at that time, before I took the pregnancy test, had actually broken up.
And if I didn't have my mom around and that kind of support system that I had with my mom and my brother, then I don't exactly know what would have happened.
When we got the yes that I was pregnant, then he started talking about getting back together.
It was difficult. There was a lot of times where I had to, Brian would be crying in the middle of the night and I didn't know what to do, and it was just me because his dad wasn't around.
I hated it. I hated it. They tell you things like, oh, you're glowing, and it's like, no, I'm sweaty. Oh, you look like you're doing good, and it's like, well, I've thrown up everything I ate today because I had morning sickness the whole pregnancy and I had heartburn the whole pregnancy, and it just ached, and I went from being really agile and really fit and doing this or that to, I'm stuck.
And I would have to put Brian down in his crib because I would be so full of anger or frustration or so upset that I would start punching things, and I had to put Brian down and leave to a different room, I guess, to get my frustration out, which was kind of also hard to really deal with the fact that you have such strong emotions like that while handling such a small child.
Because I was still happy about my baby coming, but how I felt, just like, I just want this over with.
So I was not able to go to work right away. Brian was breastfeeding up until about 5.5, 6 months. Having all the pressure and everything being on me as a single mom for so long just kind of was difficult, so I wanted kind of a sense of self.
I had my mom and I had my older sister. Just, if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have made it. And I had some friends like Brittany. I had these awesome moms doing all these awesome things. and I just wanted to be like them. I just wanted to have that strength to be able to make it.
So I wound up going. I saw that Sally Beauty had a now hiring sign, so I went in, picked up an application, applied. The only difficulty with that was trying to figure out who was going to take care of Brian, sitter-wise, stuff like that. My brother was unemployed and was always at the house, so I wound up having my brother babysit Brian.
He wouldn't let me work, even though like I tried to like apply and stuff like that. It's like, well, you need to stay home with him because my job's more important. And I really wanted to work not just for the income, but for my own sanity, because I was losing myself. I was becoming a mom and only a mom.
It was a bad job that I did not like, that I lasted way too long, so I decided that I didn't want to be working retail for the rest of my life like I have been for 8 years or whatever, and that I needed to finally go to school and actually do something so that Brian could have a good support and have a good life growing up.
I went from being a really active, you know, person in like my clique and my community and being an artist to this is my only identity is a mom, which is wonderful. It is. But when that becomes your only identity, then you don't remember who you were.
I get $300 a month in child support currently, and that covers just about the minimum, you know, like diapers, food, all that other stuff that he needs, and clothes. We're currently going through court for a parenting plan and everything like that. His child support, now that it's through the state, has changed from $300 to $765.
He was working, he was providing for the family. Right now, I get aid for like food benefits, and I'm trying to get some other aid type stuff. And I want to go to school, so that can help in the future.
We started out just like a couple nights here and there or whatever, and then once Brian was old enough, we figured that we could do every other week, Wednesday through Friday, and that's when he got Brian. And then he wanted him for longer periods of time. We decided he could have him 1 week, and then I get him 2 weeks and he gets him 1 week.
His dad right now isn't paying child support, but he will buy like diapers if I need it and stuff like that.
And then I started going to school, and because my son is enrolled at Head Start, he has to be there full time. Having that conversation with his dad that he couldn't have him for a week at a time and we'd have to adjust the schedule was hectic, and he thinks that I'm just the worst person in the world and I don't think that he deserves time with his son.
So mainly like out of the kindness of Brittany, like she gave me a safe place to be, and I'm so incredibly thankful to her because I'm happy again. I've never been so happy like this whole time. Like having my son, I feel like I have a family. Because I have her, I have Brian around, I have my son, and you know, we have our dogs, and it's just, it feels so good.
I definitely see the value in co-parenting. I grew up without a father. Him having his father in his life is very important to me because it's something that I never had.
So we're trying to like do the friend thing and like be civil and like split our week evenly enough. And like he said he's gonna pay me child support. What I really wanted was my son to have a father, his father, because I grew up without my biological dad.
Being a mom and a student is hard. Just because, well, it's nice that he's at ELC so I can do my homework while he's in daycare. But then when I, you know, have extra homework or something and I come home to do it, then Brian's grabbing all the papers or throwing it, and it's a juggle of keeping Brian occupied while I have to do all this work for school.
My ex was talking about, since I didn't have a job and a place to stay, he was gonna get full custody. He's gonna take my son away from me. And like I said, Brittany came like knight in shining armor and was like, you're gonna come with me. You'll be safe. I'll be here for you. That saved it. That saved my sanity, because if I was gonna lose my son, I didn't care what happened to me.
The love life of a single mom. Oh, what a trip. Having a kid brings a whole different thing to, I feel like, relationships, because it's not just you with someone, now you're bringing a kid into it, to where you, not only is that person gonna have to deal with, you know, having a kid that isn't theirs or anything like that, but also you having to find someone who is gonna be okay to be around your kid.
That's why I bug her all the time, like, do you need anything? Like, do you need some coffee? Like, she was doing her homework and I was like, you need to eat, here's some food, here's some coffee. And it's because I want her to know, like, I appreciate her doing this for me, because she's paying the rent right now, and I'm so thankful. And I'll get you back. I'm sorry, I'm a wreck, but I want to give him everything I did, because we grew up really poor and I don't want him to remember being poor.
My favorite thing about being a mom to Brian is just watching him grow up and do different things. Like, even when he is just a baby, him looking at his hands was really exciting.
And it was really hard, but the day he was born, it was all worth it.
Him grabbing his toes, sitting up, crawling, walking, every kind of like little big step that he makes.
When the nurse walked by, I just burst into tears at how beautiful he was, because I saw his face and then I saw his whole body and I could see that he was perfect.
Or even though he's behind in speech, now that he's had that speech therapy through ELC and everything like that, he's picking up words. I'll say, bring me your shoes, and he'll grab his shoes and run up and say, shoes.
And I just couldn't believe that, like, I grew him. Like, he was a part of me.
And it's just little things like that of kind of him slowly being formed into this own little person instead of just like this tiny little baby.
And he was crying while they were fixing him up, but as soon as they put him on my chest, he was just so peaceful and like blowing bubbles, and I was in love instantly. Like, it is the best thing that has ever happened to me. It just hits me because I feel like I'm failing when I'm actually achieving. I love you. I love you too. 2 bits and pieces.